Continuing with Alex Jones warns us of the globalist death cult fueling the next civil war. And this one's really important on Tucker Carlson's channel. It's only up for like a little over a day. And it's just a must-see for what we're experiencing in the world today. And especially with where things have been happening to me my whole life concerning this type of warfare in the general. And so I'm tired of this globalist movement, and I don't know if anyone else is, but when these people are literally calling for a rise of warfare against targets, basically against the people that are Republican and siding with being Trump supporters and being supporters of, natural law, ballistics, and, just the sunlight giving seed, bearing ability to heal our bodies over these cartel. And if that's what it really comes down to, and it's just that warfare, it's really strange that we can't just they don't even, it's a hatred. They wouldn't even want us to split the country right down the middle, and if you're right, go to the right, and if you're to the left, go to the left, and just leave each other be. It's not even like that. It's these people legitimately want to siphon all of our energy, time, and resources away from us. So here's continuing onward. It's gonna just start random where I left off.
White Christians, that's the main target. Look at the Rwandan massacre, which the UN actually ran. If you study it, the Clintons who were there, and it was a minority of blacks who were Christian. Because they were Christian, they had all the prosperity, were successful, and they all got exterminated and wiped out, a couple million of them. And now all over the world they're pressuring.
Is that true? I didn't know that there was a religious component to the
Tutsi. The Christians got killed.
I didn't know that.
And the animists did it, and the UN oversaw it. They put them in the refugee centers.
What?
Oh yeah, the UN helped murder them all.
So the Tutsis were disproportionately Christian?
Yes, the minority group that was killed was disproportionately Christian.
Yeah, by the Hutus.
Yeah, and the Hutus were animists.
Why have I never heard that before?
That was what I had guessed on at the time it was going down and covered it, yeah.
That was 31 years ago. I didn't know that.
And then they acted like the Clintons were helping. No, the UN, this actually came out in reports even from the UN, they'd stick them in the refugee emergency center, they'd pull back at night and send in the animists to kill them. And then if some got out, the UN would machine gun them.
So I knew that there were a lot of Tutsis killed in churches, but I didn't realize that they were killed by non-Christians.
Oh yeah, and the larger thing was,
wow.
The larger thing was these big global corporations.
Blew my mind, Alex Jones.
They wanted, I wish it wasn't true, they wanted the rare earth minerals. So they just used, obviously the animists never got any of that stuff they stole, and then the infrastructure all fell apart, just like, getting rid of the white rule of apartheid. Not saying apartheid's good, but now it's 10 times worse. Or Rhodesia, super wealthy. And then they get rid of all the white farmers. Where is it now? Zimbabwe inflation.
Yeah, poorest country in the world. Wow, that is absolutely wild. Why does no one ever... I first understood this began to understand during the Iraq War, where, it's this massive Christian population, including in the Ba'athist government and Saddam's government. There are tons of Christians there. And then, after 20 years of war, our war, all the Christians are gone. They're dead, or they moved, or whatever.
Same thing now in Syria.
It's absolutely right. So when I figured that out, I started to think, Assad, I've never met Assad, I don't know him, but I know he's better than Al-Qaeda. And I know that he's protecting the Christians. And boy, if you say that, they go completely bonkers. I said that at Fox, and I've never been so attacked. I don't know why it would be offensive to people to say, hey, I think we should watch out for the Christians. It's only offensive because their whole goal is to kill the Christians. That's why it's offensive.
Here's the bottom line, and you know this better than I am. For viewers, you don't understand this. This isn't rhetoric. Here's the bottom line, and you know this better than I am. For viewers, you don't understand this. This isn't rhetoric. The Western model promotes freedom and justice and property and diversity of ideas and mobility.
Yes.
The globalists want a technocracy, scientific world dictatorship in their own words. Yuval Noah Harari, all of them, go read their writings, Ray Kurzweil. And So having this model, as I said earlier, having something that's successful and free, no one's going to want what they're selling. So they have to get rid of it, and that's why we have to understand that. And we have to understand that, just like South Africa, no, we're not for apartheid, but it was predicted back when they got rid of it, when you had the communists and the Soros left, literally coming in, Soros was involved, as you know, setting up communism and haves and have-nots, and nationalizing, everything, and doing this, that it's now literal road warrior, hell on earth, everything collapsing. There's only like 40,000 farming families left. They're about to make them hand over the land in the middle of nowhere where their great-great-grandfathers hand dug wells 400 years ago, great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great. And then the population exploded because the whites came in and literally built infrastructure. Then Africans from all over Africa and Asia, Indians all flooded there because the evil white people were there. And then South Africa becomes this huge thing buoying all of Africa. And then now you blow that up, it collapses. And now the globalists get the rare earth minerals and stuff. The population gets no infrastructure. They get nothing.
It's just a colony of China at this point. It's a Chinese colony at this point.
Exactly. And then the West and Hillary blows up Gaddafi. As you know, invested everything with the West, came and apologized.
Yeah, NATO, the defensive alliance called NATO. Defensive alliance went and just murdered Gaddafi for no reason.
And for those who know, Gaddafi, more research, a statesman, he literally lived in a tent. 98% of the state money coming in, the oil went to not just the people of Africa, and he was building real infrastructure, had a whole plan to link up us, and they came and killed him. And now all of Africa is collapsing because they blew up the South Point and the North Point. One's Gaddafi, the crazy colonel. The point was he was for the people, and down here was this. And now the globalists deliberately blew up.
Yeah, and Gaddafi, he wanted to move away from the central banking and the Federal Reserve. So obviously, if you want to move away from that, oh no, we wanted all the gold and silver and the control of the money in the press. So you want to create your own press? Well, you're going to be under threat. Good luck, is basically what they're saying there. Kill everyone that wants to move away from the globalist fucktard agenda. It's fucking sad. America, stand firm. Seriously.
That up for destabilization.
Yeah, and the population will be moved here into Europe, as it already is being in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, of course. No, I see it so clearly. And the funny thing is, they've been preemptively preparing us for this by doing this whole you're a white supremacist, and you're a racist. And when I first heard that, I never met a white supremacist in my life. I still don't know any, actually, and there's so few racists in this country, at least in my time, 50
but
years.
What it is they're labeling you.
What they're doing is they're taking your defenses down.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, so you can't fight back. And I didn't get that. My first thought was, why do you see everything in racial terms? I didn't grow up thinking of things in racial terms at all. And they do. And they do because they're targeting a group. Of course, and even now.
And when you're targeting a group, the first thing you do is teach the group they can't defend themselves.
It's so...
look at Europe. The cardinal sin are here. Defending yourself if you're white.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what that is.
Nick Sortor gets beat up by Antifa, and then he gets arrested in Portland.
Yeah.
So, but I was interrupting you. That's a really important point, that they label you and demonize you to their constituents so you can be attacked and everything taken away from you. First, you're dehumanized. And then anything they want to do, teach your kids transgenderism, open the borders up, you're automatically, and you stand up for yourself, a white supremacist. But then it causes what you talked about 6 months ago when we were in Florida and spoke, right after your dad had passed, God bless him. And that was, you're really worried about a false flag against Jewish groups or something that'll then be used, or a real attack, to really pass draconian speech restrictions.
Yeah.
And now, because everybody's been called white supremacist, because everybody, who stands up for traditional values has been called bad, a lot of them go, well, you know what, I do like Hitler then. And they don't have enough history or context.
Well, that's right.
So they don't understand, look.
Well, can you just pause on that? That is such a smart point. I just want to say, Hitler was a total piece of shit, actually, and destroyed Europe. And why would you ever be for Hitler? I don't really get it. But by the way, we should not have armed Stalin. We were not. That was totally evil.
If you had to say Stalin for total kills of people was worse than Hitler.
Of course, obviously, but bottom line, let's just start here. You don't arm Stalin. Okay, period. I mean, I don't care what the calculation is. I'm not sending money or weapons to Joseph Stalin, who's genociding.
And that's what Patton said. He wasn't pro-Hitler. He just said
exactly.
You should never have armed Stalin.
But just because you shouldn't have ever sent a single dollar to Stalin doesn't mean that Hitler's good. Hitler was a total piece of shit, actually, in my opinion. And whatever he did, he destroyed Europe. He had a lot of help, but he did that. So I don't know why you can't. There's no like space in between. Why do you have to go right from we shouldn't have armed Stalin, which we should not have done, and it's shameful that we did that. And anyone who calls it the good war, a war where you're arming Stalin, is not a good war. It's a shameful war that you should repent of. But you don't have to go right to I love Hitler, right?
Well, that's the thing is, you have competing totalitarian systems. You have the fascists, you have the communists.
Yeah, how about neither one? Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you really read what Hitler himself wrote, it was all about a struggle. And he said, if all the Germans died doing this and failed, they deserve to die. And
so I just hate that right there. I hate sacrificing your own people, sending boys to go die in the defense of Berlin. You're losing. Why are you sending boys to go die? Fuck you. Sorry.
No, but it was, you're actually learned though. So, and I don't mean the pop anti-Hitler stuff, but the real things. And so that's my issue is people are all black or white. You know, they're all very monochrome. And here's an example. Do you want a black widow or a brown recluse to be put in your bed at night?
Neither.
Yes.
But we don't have to. So that's the part that freaks me out. Why would we ever put ourselves in a position where it's arm Stalin, be close allies with Joseph Stalin, who murdered tens of millions of Christians?
He's called Uncle Joe.
Yeah. Or be for Hitler? No. How about no and no? Like what? That's the worst and fakest choice in world history.
Right.
Like you don't have to participate in that.
Absolutely. So that's the issue.
And so who's telling me I have to participate in that? 80 years later. And
then it gets worse. You have the ADL that keeps World War II going in our minds and now says white America is Hitler.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's basically
the people who liberated the camp in our little town, really little town, where we're sitting right now. There's a war memorial, and a bunch of guys from this little town died fighting Hitler, which, I'm against Hitler, okay, but like to then call that country responsible for what Hitler did, I mean, it's too much. I can't deal with it.
Oh, I mean, I've had like the ADL and stuff calling me a Nazi years ago, and I just sit there and I look at it. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's so cheap. And now they see what it's done. It's blown back on them, where now you've lied so much and demonized so many good people. Now a lot of people think, well, then Hitler must be great. Because if you're calling me Hitler and I'm not, well, then Hitler must be good because they're not educated. And I mean, I can tell you it's a long story, but my dad's dad was in North Africa and flew his 22 missions. And then once they took Italy, he volunteered for another 22 missions, B-17. And then they attacked their base. They got strafed and stuff. And he got a Purple Heart, so luckily couldn't captain. And then his group went up the next week and all got killed. And then finally he stopped volunteering. So he only donated you 22 missions. But he then, as an officer, got put in charge of food trains and, food supply. And he described to my dad, never really told me the stories about all the starving Italians he saw and the death and how it really freaked him out. And then later going into Germany and just dead bodies just from disease and starvation. Dead bodies as far as you could see, blackbirds eating people's eyes out, just stuff out of total hell. And that was the reality he saw about World War II. Then my other grandfather was also the Army Air Corps. And, but he...
The stuff in this video, even before where I started, is just on point about how they want war in America and war over white Christians, especially farmers that, they just want to take over people's lives, literally. Identity theft, siphon their energy. Just the same type of stuff that I've been dealing with my whole life, but on a very fine point in this warfare. It's incredible what's happening in America. It's super sad.